Support for this podcast comes from the law firm of Davis Malm. Whether you're a developer, property owner, manager, or commercial tenant, their real estate attorneys know the lay of the land, not just the law. Learn more at davismalm.com.
WBUR Podcasts, Boston.
Keonte, I have a question for you.
What's that?
It's the best pizza joint in the city, or in the region, I should say.
Got you. I would go with Chow Pizza and Pasta in Chelsea. Funny thing is, I just tried this place yesterday, and I'm already stamping it as the best in the area.
Wow.
Really delicious. You got to get the pizza. I think it's called the salsiccia. It's got fennel sausage, cherry peppers on it. Absolutely delicious.
Okay, it's fresh, because you said fennel sausage. I love fennel sausage.
It was
It's
amazing.
delicious. I'm Daryl C. Murphy, and you're listening to The Comment. Keonte Henson, Boston-based food content creator. Welcome to The Comment.
Got you. Thank you for having me.
So Keonte Henson's your government name. Your alias is wannabe stay-at-home dad. And you're on TikTok and Instagram, basically rating food around the region. For folks who don't know, who are not on TikTok or Instagram, how would you describe what you do?
I think it is essentially an animated Yelp review.
Nice.
With some added comedic flair. I like to pretend every viewer is sitting right across the table from me and we're just talking about the dish that we're eating together. So I think that's probably the best description for the videos I make.
You recently went to a place called Nibble Kitchen, right?
Yes, that's correct. So it was East Fruit Smoothies, which is inside a Nibble Kitchen in Bow Market in Somerville.
Tell me about that experience.
It was great. I was going in there to try out their Jamaican food. Really hot day, so I got a smoothie as well. And as I was getting the food, I ordered the jerk chicken, and the gentleman, I think this man was the owner, he was like, I feel like you really want to try the oxtail too, don't you? And I was like, hey, it is what it is if you throw it in there.
What? Oxtail? Hell yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to say no.
Right.
So yeah, no, they hooked it up, and the food was delicious.
And you know what? We actually have a clip of that video.
Do y'all hear me biting into this right now? That chicken is so beautifully seasoned. It's so juicy. And I got lucky too. So they post their hours, but in reality, they're open until they run out of food. And I think I just made the cut. And we got this oxtail. Oh, yeah. Bro, how does Somerville have all the spots?
Yeah. And, one thing I do really appreciate about your videos and your stories is that you're new to the area.
Yeah.
So I would love to know, why did you want to start making videos like this?
Yeah, so I moved to Cambridge. So I moved into the Boston area in May of 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And then we relocated to the North End.
There is a lot of food up there, yeah.
It's all food, man. That's what it feels like. And then so the winter comes around, and I remember talking with one of my friends that's really big into content creating. And we were talking about, he really was pushing me, you should really try to get into it. You give it a chance. People think you're funny. Maybe, just try some different things. That's actually where the name came from, because my content was going to be acting as if I was a stay-at-home dad and just doing chores around the house. But we didn't pick that up. So then he was here again one weekend. He was visiting, and he was like, you know what? Let's go get some food, and we'll let's just try you doing a food review. And we did it at Monica's Mercado in Solomaria in the North End. Got a sub from down there, did a video, posted it, and I was kind of hooked.
Word. Tell me about how this journey that you're on, how it's helped you explore the city, and what have you learned along the way?
I think the biggest thing I've learned is just how diverse the area is within Boston and surrounding Boston.
Yeah.
I think moving up here, I kind of had this perception that most of Boston was made up of Italian and Irish culture. Mm-hmm. And I think that is, that does take up a portion of it for sure. But once you kind of get out and branch out a little bit, there's a lot of culture there and a lot of new restaurants that are making innovative takes on those cultures and those cuisines.
Yeah. One thing I like about your videos, what I feel helps to make them really approachable, is that, you're not going to super fancy places. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And plus you're hitting takeaway spots. You're eating in your car, Just talk to me about why you're taking that approach.
I think because it's the approach that one I relate to the most. And I think the approach that I just, it fits best into my everyday life. Like if we are going out to eat, it's going to be a quick takeaway spot because we know they got a good deal and we know the food is good. That's kind of how I was raised. So my approach to making videos has always been that I want to find places where if you're on the go and you have to eat in your car because you got somewhere to be, you can stop and grab this place and you'll love the food and you'll love the price. For the restaurants, the sit-down restaurants that I choose to do, I still keep that mindset in where it's like, I'm not sitting down because I've heard this place has the snazziest service or, the snazziest way that they plate dishes or things like that. It's like, no, I've heard the food is great. And I try to keep in mind, like I said, budgets, like it is not easy, right, to eat out. So I want to be mindful of that in my content.
Yeah. Give me a place you found for yourself that you find a lot of people have slept on. What's a hidden gem?
Yeah, so I thought it was a hidden gem, and then out of nowhere, they were on Best of Boston. But I think the Coast Cafe in Cambridge.
Oh, man. I've been trying to go there for a minute. Yeah.
Man, it is. They got weird hours. Some of the best places do. But when I was like pretty early on into making food videos, and someone had commented it or something, or maybe I had seen it pop up on a list somewhere. And I finally got out there to try it, and it is amazing food. I'd probably say that's one of the sleepers for me.
And Coast Cafe is like barbecue, soul food.
Yeah, it's like soul food, man. The fried wing combination plate with the mac and cheese and some candied yams. That's kind of, I got it. I got it memorized verbatim. I know my order.
So we got soul food at the Coast Cafe. Yeah, man. And how do you decide where to eat?
It's not a refined process at all. It's a scroll through my comments and a Google like, oh, that does sound good. All right, let's go check it out.
So you have over 34,000 followers on TikTok and more than 16,500 on Instagram. What do you know about the community of people who follow you, and what has it been like to build that?
Yeah, it's been really enjoyable. It's helped me a lot with becoming more familiar with the area for sure, just from people sending recommendations, giving me their input on places that they like. And it, when I first moved up here, I think I was struggling to, find my roots within the city just because I had never lived more than like 45 minutes away from home. So getting up here, it was like, I don't even know how to approach like building connections with people. Like I said, I think there's a perception of Boston. And I think once you get here and you actually, establish roots here, you can see that it's definitely different from the perception.
Absolutely.
And there's people that are just genuinely like caring and genuinely nice. And like, obviously everything I share is an opinion. So there are people that disagree with my opinion. But for the most part, it's welcoming. Even if they disagree with me, it's more like, hey, I don't agree with you on this place. You got to go try this place. So people, I think it just paints a good light on, the generosity that people have here.
We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back.
Politics has never been stranger or more online, which is why the politics team at Wired is making a new show, Wired Politics Lab. It's all about how to navigate the endless stream of news and information and what to look out for. Each week on the show, we'll dig into far-right platforms, AI chatbots, influencer campaigns, and so much more. Wired Politics Lab launches Thursday, April 11th. Follow the show wherever you get your podcasts.
And we're back with Keonte Henson, food content creator. I want to talk to you more about the perception you may have had coming to the Boston area versus the one you have now.
Yeah.
How was your mind changed?
Yeah, I think the biggest concern I had was connecting culturally with the Boston area. Coming, obviously I'm black.
Just say it, you're black, right? Yeah.
I wasn't going to try to sugarcoat. I was going to try to ease my way into it. You're right. Yes, I'm black. I'm an African-American man moving up into Boston. Before I even moved, my grandfather pulled me to the side and was like, "You sure you want to move to Boston?"
Listen, yep. Yep.
Yeah, and I understand, obviously, the question. But so I was definitely just looking to see, what is it going to be like? I didn't even have a good idea. I think there was probably a negative perception moving up just because of everything that I've heard. And I do think there are ways, there are steps that the city of Boston can take to, help remedy that perception and that reputation. I think that there are things that are moving in the right way with that, but it's all about what you make it to. Don't allow yourself to kind of get bogged down in the thought that, hey, I'm up here and I'm alone. Find your spaces, because there's always spaces for us.
And what better way to find that than through food?
Through food, exactly. Because if there's one thing we can do, it's cook.
That's right.
and that's something, my mom is a chef. So that's just kind of been my thought process the whole time, right? Like, I'm going to connect through food. I'm going to find the spots that relate to my people. I also want my profile, and I'm hoping to take it more in this direction. The more that I grow, shines a light on places that people may not know about, right?
Yeah, it just takes some exploration.
Exactly.
I kind of went through a similar journey where, you find your spot, you find your people.
Exactly.
And, it's cool. I can honestly tell people like, nah, Boston's pretty cool.
Right. I think it's like almost, you could say that, Boston, I think, had a stronger kind of racist reputation, but I think the things that people said to me about moving to Boston, you could say to me about moving to almost any city.
100%. That's right. So tell me about your approach to rating food in Boston. Like, when you go into a place, what are you thinking about, and what sort of vibe are you trying to give to your viewers?
Yeah, I definitely factor in, the vibes and how comfortable the place is when you walk in and how people treat you as they serve you and whatnot. I definitely understand that the service or, the waiters and waitresses have tough days. So I definitely weigh the food heavier. But first off, what are the vibes? Second, is the food good? And then third, is the pricing solid, right? Like, do I feel like the food that I got was worth the price that I paid?
I'm going to dig into your business a little bit. So this isn't your main gig, right? You actually work as a consultant during the day. But would you ever want to change that and go all in on being a food influencer?
I think the only time I would make that switch is if I knew it could support me, right? And like and I can make a livelihood off of it. I would consider it. I do really like, my day job as a consultant. I kind of have always kept them separate, when I think of what do I want to do, like what do I dream of, it's not really working. It's more of just like making sure that I'm happy and I'm enjoying whatever it is I'm doing.
Well, I'm going to ask you this straight.
Okay.
What are the top 2 places you've rated recently that you would recommend to listeners?
Definitely New Deal Fruit in Revere. It's this like smaller kind of a Italian market that has this deli that has any sandwich you could ever imagine. Like any sandwich you could imagine, they already have it on the menu somehow.
Was that where you got the Italian sandwich?
Yes, that's where that Italian sub was from. And that was insane. And then number 2, where would I recommend number 2? The food truck video that I did recently. Paisani food truck. They're parked in Rose Wharf like Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and then they're over at SOA on Sundays. SOA is this market down in the South End. Really, really amazing food truck. Really good food. The guys that are running it are really dope. The sloppy Paisani, that sandwich from Paisani's food truck, it's got bolognese, crispy eggplant, ricotta. Delicious. Absolutely delicious.
Sweet. Keonte, thank you so much for coming through to The Common. We really, really appreciate it.
Got you. Thank you so much for having me, man. And thank you to everyone that's been supporting me and helping me grow the channel. It's been really fun.
That's food content creator Keonte Henson, also known as wannabe stay-at-home dad. And that's our show for today. Thank you so much for listening to The Common. Look, if you like what you're hearing, please go to wherever you listen to podcasts, especially Apple or Spotify. Rate and review us. It would help us out a lot. We would really, really appreciate it. Thank you ahead of time. And if you want to get in touch with us, hit us up on Instagram at WBURTheCommon or send us an email at thecommon@wbur.org. I'm Daryl C. Murphy, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.